So welcome back, and we're seeing Pickett's Crushers. They are batting against Bolans, who are in the field, and it looks as if it's going to be Taim Tong who is opening the bowling. His first delivery was a good ball played defensively, and it's Francis and Henry opening the batting for the Pickett's Crushers. L.Y. Francis Jr. and looks to be Kadeem Henry, who is the other player who's opening the batting. They get off the mark with a push up to the mid-off fielder. We're seeing Bolans in the field. Bolans, they're there, and they're in their brightly colored shirts. Neon green, we call it. And Pickett's Crushers, who has played well so far in this tournament, they will be hoping that they can get past Boland's team. Taim Tong is in, and this ball is edging down to third man. The man coming around has a throw back to the wicket keeper. Looks as if it's a female that's wicket keeping this evening for the Boland's team. I will confirm in a short while, possibly. So we're just waiting still for the team sheets, but we'll continue. We'll try to look at it. And delivery that is driven in the onside field, led well by the fielder who is tumbling at that mid-wicket position for the Boland's team. And again, there is no run. Trying to pick up that fielder. Looks like it's Larnell. You remember Larnell that used to open bat for Boland's a while ago? Looks as if he's making a comeback there. I will confirm. Delivery that is played away up to the mid-on region. Again, Taim Tong in the first over. Pickets tonight, they have L.Y. Francis, Dimari Benter, Kadeem Henry, Timo Thomas, Amanda N. Edwards, Enric Drew, Zalim Scott, Gresham Phillip, Vincent Shadrack Jr., Stephen Matthew, and Ralston Trish Phillip. Taim Tong is in, and he's knocked the stumps out of the ground. Kadeem Henry is bowled all over the place. Or is that Francis? That's L.Y. Francis Jr. getting a Yorker length delivery. The stump is knocked out of the ground. The first wicket goes for Pickett's Crushers. At the end of the first over, they are 2 for 1.
That was a lethal Yorker. That was an absolutely fast delivery by Taim Tong. And this young man has promise. It was quick. And L.Y. Francis just about lifted the bat, and that was the end of his innings. The Yorker was through him in a flash and uprooted that looked to be the leg stump when cartwheeling. So that was a superb delivery from young Taim Tong, dismissing the captain of the Pickett's Crushers team in absolutely exciting and exhilarating fashion. Wonderful delivery. Yorker length with a lot of pace.
Certainly Yorker length with a lot of pace. So we see a lot of pointing and out there for Boland's. Look as if it's going to be Shanisha Hector who is going to bowl from the northern end.
But go ahead. There's a disappointing feature about the cricket, and we are not seeing numbers on the backs of the Boland's team, and I think it's Liberta.
Yeah, I see insurance Liberta.
Yeah, yes. And that needs to be corrected, because even in Test cricket, they're identifying players because they see the need for that.
Hector is in, and she just runs through. They-
That was an unusual sort of run through.
yes, just running up as if she was going to bowl, and then as she got to the crease, she just decided to do a jump and a skip and a run through. As Henry is on strike, facing her, and his delivery, he's striking it into the offside field for a single out to deep cover. Fielder comes in off the boundary, they get one, so 3 runs for 1 wicket in the second over. Being bowled by Shanisha Hector. She played one-day international cricket for the West Indies right here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. We remember that Independence Day in
2 Novembers ago.
2018.
It was actually 2018, yes.
2018, yes. And
Oh, no, it was last year.
2019.
It was last year.
2019.
The year has gone by so
Yes.
quickly. The dreadful 2020 has gone by so quickly we sort of forgot the date.
So here is Hector in, and this delivery is tugged away over the long on region 6 runs.
That was a
Pitched up,
fantastic stroke.
and it was struck hard over the long on region 6 runs.
A wonderful stroke. It was hit with a lot of power. It was a flat 6. The fielder at long on had no chance. He leapt in the air, but it was never going to be close to his fingers. And it flew over his head, flashed over his head beyond the boundary at long on for 6. Massive stroke by the batsman.
Certainly in a no-nonsense
That is
mood
Shaw.
is
Drew.
Drew.
And he hits
And
him again.
it again. 6 more. Further this time. The ball going over next to the stands. This one went further. And he's really having a go at Shanisha Hector.
Oh, that was hit even better because it went a bit high up and seemed to have had even more momentum than the first one, and it really soared away over the wide long on position for 6 more runs. This man, Drew, is a big man. Physically, he has the height, he has the physique to really hit a cricket ball, and he is showing that this evening with 2 thunderous drives off Shanisha Hector. Will she be able to come back? Let's see what happens with this delivery.
Hector is in again. This is into Drew. And this time he's just pushing it into the offside field and takes off for the single. So the bowlers team tonight: Earl Waldron, Shemroy Griffith, Taim and Tajeja Tong, Martin Caesar, Peter Belanfanti, Kareem Richards Belafanti, Kareem Richards, Klasky Athil, Derek Murilan, Shanisha Hector, and Therese Parker. This delivery from Hector, short of a length, played away into the offside field by Henry. Gets a single. 17. The total has gone on to 17 for 1 in over number 2. So 15 runs so far off the Shanisha Hector over, with 1 delivery to come. And she's going to be bowling it to Drew, who was taking a liking for her bowling. Wide delivery down the legs. It was a full toss, and really Drew would think that he would have missed out on that one. Signal wide now by umpire Bernard Joseph. So because it's the last delivery of the over, she will have to bowl it over. So 4 more to the total. 22. It goes up to 22 for 1. So the man that I was calling Larnell is actually Derek Murilan. Looks a lot. She's with a slow delivery delivered by Shanisha Hector, and the batsman having to wait for it. It was almost like an off spinner and bowled well below her miles per hour, and the batsman were able to steal a single as the batsman waited and just worked it into the onside field. 2 overs gone. 23 for 1, with Drew is on 13 and Henry on 4.
The assumption then is that Terrace Parker is the wicket keeper because it's definitely a female. We have two females in this bowling side, Shaunisha Hector and Terrace Parker. Hector having bowled the second over of the innings, and she was smashed about and even conceded a wide, so it was a very expensive over. And so Bolans are right now up against it. They have had an early wicket, but the run rate is appreciably high, 23 off 2.
So, Boland just making sure that they have their fielders where they want them. Is it Tong that's going to continue? Yes, he's going to continue. His first delivery is played defensively by the batsman in Kadeem Henry, and there was no run. Surprised that Taim Tong has decided to bowl his 2 overs right at the start.
Maybe the intention is to get one of these 2 out, because with Kadeem Henry is a very talented batsman, and we've seen Drew is in explosive form. Maybe that's why.
Tong is in, and this delivery outside the off stump, much too wide, and the batsman was hitting it out into the offside field, and a little bit of a misfield there, a dive, and in the dive, not gathering the ball, cleaning the fielder, and the batsman were able to race back for 2 runs.
Good positive running between these two. I thought that they made their minds up quite early to go back for that second run, and that's a feature we've been calling for, and I think we're seeing more and more of it. Good running between the wickets.
Tong is in, and Henry gets a delivery on the pads that he's working out into the square leg region, gets 2 runs easily as the fielder is there, and they're coming back for the third, and the batsman having to dive to get into his creases, Drew, and they're able to come back again. The fielder was just a little bit casual with the throw, and with the lob throw, the batsman noticing that it was a weak throw, and they rushed back and eventually got a 3rd run.
They were a little bit casual too, because they had settled for 2. And you should not really be settling for anything in limited overs cricket. And what happened, the fielder fumbled, and so Drew saw the opportunity to come back. It would have been a chance he run, but he trusted himself to get there, and he made that dive, which was a very good dive, because he got home. As the throw came in, he was just fractionally ahead of the wicketkeeper, disrupting the stumps at the top end.
28 for 1 in over number 3, and so Drew just making some adjustments to his gear, probably just adjusting his boot laces. He's now just putting his glove back on, getting ready. So just a slight hold up in play as Drew is facing Taim Tong, who would love to produce another one of those Yorkers. Tong is in, and Drew is edging down to 3rd man. The fielder there, and they get a single. So 1 more to the total. They throw over the top of Parker, the wicket keeper, and we've seen Parker and Shaunisha Hector named in the Boland's team. They also have Tonya Martin and Sidella Bellot named on their team sheet, but not playing this evening. Taim Tong is in, and this delivery will produce a single as Kadeem Henry just works it into short square leg, and the batsman able to come through for a run. So 30 for 1 with 1 delivery to go in over number 3. So Picket Squashers scoring at a rate of 10.59 at this time would be the kind of start that they would want. A positive start, having lost the wicket of their captain in the first over. Here is Tong again in, and Drew is swinging and missing at a short delivery. Tong coming right down, having a word with Drew, and Drew was also just reacting there. So the end of the over has come. That ball goes into the book. 30 for 1 at the end of 3.
When you have pace, then more you can confront the batsman, and that was certainly the case, because Drew tried to play the ball through the onside, and he did not have the room, he did not have the time to really execute that, and perhaps that's what Tong was telling him, that he cannot really handle the pace, trying something really adventurous in trying to pull him from outside the line of that off stump. It was a quick delivery, and although they did not try anything extravagant, anything elaborate in that over, the runs that came, they had 7 runs from that third over, keeping up the hefty scoring rate, which started since the very first over of the innings. And so they're on target here for big score this evening, unless Bolans can really pull it back.
So, start of over number 4. Martin Caesar is who the scoreboard says is the man that is going to take on the attack. And he's going to be bowling to Kadeem Henry. I'm surprised that Pickett's Crushers would have made a change in their batting order, having seen how good Benter batted in their first encounter. Him not showing and not even coming in at 3. This delivery working away into the onside field for another single.
Yes, because he was brilliant in that first game. I think he got 34 in that opening match, and he did so at quite a pace. Scored really relatively quickly in that match. Pickett's Crushers 80 for 8, Benter 36 from 16, 3 6s and 2 4s. Maybe his injury. I don't think it's because of he underperformed in that one.
Here we watch as this delivery, Drew was looking to hit it somewhere in the mid-wicket region. The ball going back down the pitch. The bowler feels on his follow-through. Leaves no run.
That strike rate in excess of 200. 36 from 16.
Certainly. So I'm surprised that I don't see him as yet. And in the shortened version, you don't get a lot of opportunity. Drew is working this one out to the long on region. Fielder comes in off the boundary. 1 more to the total. .32 for 1 it has gone up to. Drew takes his personal tally on to 15. Henry is on 11. Caesar is again, Pickett's just keeping the scoreboard ticking over as they go about their business here today.
And perhaps another reason is that with Drew being such an explosive batsman, they're looking at net run rate even at this point.
So this delivery is worked out in the onside for another run.
And at the same time giving Kadeem Henry a chance to get into form as well, because he's a very key part of their batting armory.
Certainly would be. Over in New Zealand 401 for 8. 401 for 8. Nichols is still there, not out on 152. So Nichols on 152. The New Zealanders passing the 400 mark. 401 for 8. The end of over number 4 has come up. The Pickett's Crushers, they moved on to 35 for 1. 35 for 1, scoring at a rate of 8.75. So the rate has come down somewhat from when it was 10 was going at 10. Just 5 runs coming from that Martin Caesar over.
With respect to the West Indies in New Zealand, the day has changed, but the situation has remained just about the same. The West Indies in that first test match, I think they were psychologically fooled by the opposition, meaning it was a green top. I remember the captain Jason Holder saying that the field was the same, was just about the same as the pitch in terms of the color, and he was also saying that generally the Hamilton strip is a good one. I'll break. Delivery
that is cut away out to deep cover. and they rush back for the second run. The batsman getting home in the end as the throw came back to the non-striker's end.
Yes, he was saying that the pitch usually is a good pitch at Hamilton. So New Zealand said, well, look, if the West Indies win the toss, they're going to put us in. If we win the toss, we know the pitch is going to play well, so we're going to bat. So so they knew they would have batted anyhow, New Zealand. I thought the West Indies were fooled by that.
His delivery hit hard, but knocked down and goes out to the long off region for a single. Shannon Gabriel, 27 overs, 7 maidens, 79 runs, 3 wickets. Jason Holder, 27 overs, 6 maidens, 85 runs, no wicket. Alzari Joseph, 22 overs, 2 maidens, 109 runs, 3 wickets. Shamar Holder, 24 overs, 1 maiden, 86 runs, 2 wickets. And Ruston Chase having 9 overs for 37 runs in his bowling. So New Zealand 405 for 8. That total has moved on to. Drew is hitting this one high, hard, and majestically over long on for 6 runs.
Oh, that was superbly played. He got a ball well up to him. The bowler had gone around the wicket to try and narrow down the angle in terms of not being able to expose himself to that sort of a shot. But it was expertly done by the batsman, Drew.
Outside the line of the off stump this time from Griffith.
Noticeably a slow one, and the batsman was undone by that slow delivery.
So Shamroy Griffith is the bowler. The total is on to 44 for 1 in over number 5 with 2 deliveries to go in the 5th over. And this delivery brings up a boundary. So another boundary here coming.
He seems to be a very vociferous player, Drew. He's hitting the ball all over the place, and he is certainly having a word, well, more than a word with the bowlers, and clearly he can do some bragging at the moment because he's in full flight. He's smashing the ball to all parts.
And this one is struck away again and gone further over the long on region. 6 more runs. Drew rushes on to 32, and the total is on to 54 for 1 at the end of 5 overs.
You almost hit that in the lower deck of the stand on the far side. It was a massive stroke. He put a lot into that one. There was power, there was timing. And from the moment it left the bat, we knew that it would have been 6 runs. So Boland's now in a situation where they're maybe beginning to lose hope as well, because with the exception of Time Tong, the bowlers have been smashed about by Pickett's crushers, with Drew leading the charge with his sensational hitting. And so Boland's will have a lot of work to do to really come back into this game and limit the score on the 100, because with 54 for 1 on the board, it means that they have this platform to get a score in excess of 100. We've had only one score in excess of 100, and that was PIC Liberta Blackhawks. They made 117 in their opening match of the competition. And they put All Saints Pythons to the sword, made 117 from their 10. Kofi James was the main batter. So we have a new bowler, and it is a situation where the runs continue to flow, because that was on the short side from the bowler who has been introduced into the attack from the northern end of the ground. It's Athil, and his first ball has been smashed over straight mid-wicket for 6.
Klasky Athil with a slow ball, and Kadeem Henry waited long for it, but made good contact. Hit it right over the fielder, who is at that cow corner position, and was able to pick up 6 runs.
So Athil, off to a bad start. tosses the ball from Antoine and goes in, and this ball is turned away into the onside towards the straightish mid-wicket area, just a few yards beyond the circle. The man at that mid-wicket position on the boundary, straight mid-wicket, coming in to do the fielding, and only one had for the batsman, who is Kadeem Henry. He has been on the quiet side for the most part. He's on 23. Drew is on 32.
And bowlers need wickets if they're going to get back into this game, because if they don't get wickets, and the longer that Drew stays at the crease, the more dangerous he could become. So they really need to dismiss Drew.
So here is Atil into ball to Drew, and Drew is pulling at this ball, gets it away down to the backward square position, and they amble the single. And so one more to the score. It's on the 62 for 1. 62 for 1, win over number 6. So this is a tremendous start by Pickett's Crushers. Victory tonight would seal their spot in the semi-finals of the competition, the round-robin semi-finals. Here is Athil outside the line of the off-stump. Kadeem Henry goes back and cuts it away down towards the square cover area, down to point. They rush back for the second. So not only the hitting has been exemplary, but the running between the wickets has certainly been of a high quality.
Certainly has been of a high quality between these two. They've looked for every opportunity to keep the scoreboard ticking over, and they've put the fielders from bowlers who don't necessarily look the most athletic team. When you look at the fielders, even from this distance, they look, as our good friend would say, beefy.
Kasky Athil is in, and it's dabbed down to third man. The fielder inside the 30-yard circle is there, and the fielder has given a run away. Oh, well.
Not necessary. Terence Parker was right there, just lobbed the ball to her, and it's okay. The fielder went for an almighty throw, tried to fire it in over her head, couldn't hang on to it, and giving away an easy single. But that was not necessary.
So it means that Drew is back on strike, and he gets a ball. Initially thought of going into a big drive, but then just play the ball quietly, just stroking it out towards the extra cover position for a single. And that came off the last ball of the over. So Pickett's Crushers winning the toss and opting to bat in the second match of tonight's action in the 10th splash here at the Vivian Richards Stadium. They're 66 for 1 after 6 overs, going in excess of 10 runs per over. In fact, they're going at 11 precisely per over, with 34 to Drew and Kadeem Henry on 26.
When you look at the body language already of the bowlers team, doesn't paint a very positive picture. They are not moving around very quickly in the field. They look unsure as to their field placements, and they're beginning to get worried because Pickett's, they have laid the platform. They're 66 for 1 after 6 overs, with 4 overs to come and wickets in hand. This could be a mauling for the bowlers team.
Indeed, it could be a really sad night for them. They could concede probably the highest total of the competition to date, because Pickett's Crushers are on course to get to 100 and beyond, and maybe surpass the 117 made by PIC Liberta Blackhawks. So the attack continues from the far end, and here's a ball which is driven down to the long off position by the big hitting Enrique Drew. Earl Waldron, the veteran, is into the attack. Earl Waldron, former whole of the has individual score in the Leeward Islands cricket tournament. He made that sometime in the 1990s.
Yes.
It was at All Saints.
Yep.
He made 291 in that match. It was since surpassed by, I think it was Alex Adams. Alex Adams made 308.
And Marley Richards.
Eventually Marley Richards. Ball turned away into the onside by Kadeem Henry into the backward square leg position, and they go for a single, and they'll get only 1 for that. The score now on to 67 for 1. So Marley Richards made not Marley Richards, but Alex Adams made 308, former Anguillan Leeward Islands opening batsman. And then Marley Richards got 319 And he's the current record holder. Here is Drew launching himself into a drive, and he's hit it over mid-wicket. That has gone for 6. So we get from our scorer how many 6s he has hit so far and 4s during the course of his innings, because he's rattled on. He's now on to 41. He's hit a 4 and 5 6s so far in his knock.
That's the kind of innings that Pickett is looking for from him as the pinch hitter. They sent him in to do exactly that.
Waldron is in to bolt him, and he's hitting him over the top again. It has gone miles over the top in the vicinity of the black scorecard, the black side screen correction, and the score has rattled on further. It's now what, 80? The score is 80 for 1, and we're in the course of over number 7. 80 for 1. This is only the 7th over, 4 balls gone. Earl Waldron coming into the attack, but he has also suffered the same fate as all the other bowlers with the exception of Time Tong.
47 runs scored so far by Drew. Really the kind of innings that Pickett Squashers needed from him.
Earl Waldron around the wicket, and Drew is undriving, gets it down towards the long on area, and the batsmen go through for 1. So Waldron managing to stifle the aggression of the batsman on that occasion, just angling the ball into his legs, and only a single had. Scoring out to 81 for 1. Kadeem Henry comes in to strike. Earl Waldron goes back over the wicket, bowling off spin, and Kadeem Henry is beaten. The ball comes off the edge and goes down towards the fine third man area, a few meters beyond the 30-yard circle, and they scurry back for the second. So that one perhaps just drifting away from the right-hander and got the edge, but still runs added to the already huge total, comparatively huge total, because we're talking about 10 overs a side cricket. The 83 for 1. We have had 7 overs completed, 3 to come, and they're well on course to get a total in excess of 100. Drew is on, that's Enrique Drew, he's on 48. He's already hit some 5 6s and a 4, and Kadeem Henry on 29.
Earlier in the other game, I was mentioning that there was a message that came in from a fan of Boland's that says, "Hey, Earl Waldron is going to make 100 tonight," because Earl is very angry because it is alleged that you said nobody in Boland's can play cricket. Maybe in commentary we were remarking that the Boland's team looked like if they lacked some quality in terms of their batting, and we understand the text is saying that Waldron is very upset. However, tonight what they're lacking is penetration in their bowling, because so far they've been really put to the sword by the Pickett Squashers team.
So Griffith comes in, and it's driven down to the deep mid-wicket area. Fielder on the boundary sends the return towards the bowler's end, and they get 1 for it. So just a single, 84 for 1 at the start of the 8th over of the innings. Pickett's Crushers on course here, scoring at 11.72. And now Drew is at the non-strikers end, Drew having gotten a single off the first ball, so he will get the strike now. He has hit 6 6s. I forgot to mention the last one he hit. He has hit 6 6s. And 1 4.
He's on 49,
yes,
and looking to get to his half century, which would be a tremendous feat in this 10 over version.
We have had a couple of half centuries, or just one, and hitting it down the ground. The ball is fielded by the man moving around, and they get 1. But Drew a little bit slow in setting off. They had to hustle in the end because the fielder at long on sprinted around to his left and released the ball very, very quickly to the bowler's end. And he really had to accelerate to get to his ground just to make sure. So he goes with that 50 up.
Yeah, well played by him. And he would have entertained his fans who would have come out to watch him this evening. They would be very happy with his performance so far, and so to his teammates.
86 for 1 halfway through the 8th over. And Kadeem Henry is stepping out and looking to drive, but misses the ball outside the line of the off stump, one of foolish length, and taken by the female wicket keeper. That's Terence Parker. Doing a decent job behind the stump.
Yes, I remember we had the discussion recently as to the merits of having the females play alongside the males.
Medium pacer is in. That's Griffith. It's hit down towards the long on position. Wide mid wicket position dropped by the field. He got around there and he looked a little bit nonchalant in going for that ball and should have really taken that. It came just about maybe shoulder head height.
He put up one hand,
yes,
hoping that it stick and the ball hit
yes,
in
it was,
palm and fall into the ground.
Like he was just hoping. So that wasn't good feeling at all by the fielder. They should have done a lot better than that. He had the time, he got around, and two hands would have been a much better effort. But he gave a chance to the batsman. It was Kadeem Henry. It was, right? Yes, he was Kadeem, so they got a single for it. Here is a ball hit over the top. 6 runs by Enrique Drew, launching himself into that drive. He had the width. A ball outside the line of the off stump. With a man as big as he is and with those powerful shoulders, you cannot afford to give him the width. And he really launched himself into that drive. And the ball went sailing away over the long on position for 6 runs. So the score after 8 overs has gone into the 90s. It is now 93 for 1. 93 for 1 Pickett's Crushers. And they're really crushing the spirit of the Bowlands team here. They're scoring at 11.63 per over. 93 for 1, 2 overs to come. Drew is on 56. And Kadeem Henry on 31.
With this pace, the Pickett's Crushers could easily overtake the 117 made by the PIC Insurance Liberta Blackhawks. As you said, they are crushing the spirits of the Bowlands team. We watch the Bowlands team as they are changing over. Very slowly, we see players talking to each other and pretty much a negative body language coming from the players. They don't know what would have hit them. They came out hoping that they would have put the Pickett's Crushers on the pressure. They got an early wicket when Elroy Francis Jr. received a very quick Yorker length delivery from Taim Tong, knocked out his stumps. But since then, it has been the Enrique Drew show. And Enrique Drew, people are asking, maybe our Facebook friends can tell us, who is Enrique Drew? Because everybody's asking, where did this guy come from? Out of the blue, he's there for Pickett's Crushers right at the top. And he's on 56 and really putting the sword to the Bowlands team.
Yes, he's on top of his game tonight, without a doubt. And he could really be finishing in some way. Maybe it could be 70 odd not out, 80 odd not out, you don't know. 2 overs are left. You can get a maximum of 72 runs from the 2 overs. And the rate he's going, if he were to get maybe even a half or 3/4 of those deliveries, you don't know what could well happen. So the penultimate over starts. Is it Shanisha Hector? And she picks up a wicket. Shanisha Hector has removed Kadeem Henry. He has been bowled, seemed to have played on. The ball hitting the leg stump leaning sideways. So that's the end of Kadeem Henry. He has been bowled by Shanisha Hector. And she's absolutely elated about that, picking up the wicket of Henry. He has departed for 31.
Henry played well.
Henry
played well in the support role to Drew. Drew was going guns blazing. With 2 overs left, with 12 deliveries left, Henry decided he was going to attack Shanisha Hector and he didn't get his timing right. The ball coming off the inner portion of the bat and crashing into his leg stump, bringing out Benta, who we saw batting very well in the first match. And so Demari Benta would come out now, is out now to join Drew, and hopefully he can join with Drew and push this Pickett's Crushers score, which is already a very good score in the context of a 10 over per side game. 93 for 2, if he can push it to really a significant total.
An imposing total, 93 for 2. Sean Nishek, the right arm fast medium, and this ball is turned away into the onside by Demari Benter. So he's off the mark right away, and he has done the right thing. He has given Drew the strike. You know, Demari Benter can hit the ball. He scored at a strike rate in excess of 200 in that opening match. 36 from 16, 3 sixes and 2 fours he had in the victory over the Golden Eagles, the Bethesda team. And here is Drew slashing at a ball outside the line of the off stump, going through to the wicket keeper. Not sure if she took it, Terrace Parker. Looked as if it may have been in and out of her gloves.
Probably in and out of her gloves, but she was effective in stopping it and not giving away any runs. And at this stage, anything will go. Once it's not a run, Bolans will be happy.
94 for 2. Shanisha Hector bowling from the southern end, and here is Enrique Drew getting a ball of full length. It looked as if it was a full toss, and he mistimed it badly. The ball went on the onside of the pitch, and the bowler following through was able to collect it quite easy. In the process, he seemed to have maybe just done a little bit of a injury to himself. Looked to be favouring.
I think he missed the ball, and the ball crashed into that fleshy part of his leg that is not protected by any of his pads.
Yeah. So after a little bit of a walk, he settles into his stance now, and here is he going after Shawnisha Hector, hitting it down the ground. It's gone away. Has it gone away for 6 or 4? 6. So going away from the fielder at that long off position, he has hit it through the wide long off area for 6. It was a flat 6 effected there by Enrique Drew. So whether or not he's limping, he's going to be hitting still with the same degree of success. The 100 coming up with that stroke is 100 for 2, and he has powered on Drew to 62. Here is Shawnee Sheck into bowl team, and he's driving, gets it down to long off. Ball going along the ground, down to the fielder there. Only a single for Drew. He's on to 63 now. 101 for 2 on the board. And we're nearing the end. In fact, we have just completed the end of over number 9. So there is 1 over to come in the innings. And who knows what will happen in this final over. Already it's a formidable total on the board. 101 for 2. Pickett's Crushers with Enrique Drew on 63 and Demari Benter on 1.
Yeah, the Pickett's Crushers, they're looking to really, with these final 6 deliveries, inflict further punishment on the bowling of Bolans. Somebody on social media has commented to us. He says, cricket has changed, and until we in the South admit to the change and adapt, we will continue to suffer and be angry with people when they talk the truth. That is somebody coming from around South, responding to what I said earlier with Bolans and Waldron being unhappy with comments that were made. This is a wide delivery down the leg side, and Terrace Parker cannot handle it. The ball going down to the fine leg boundary as well for 4 wides. So that would be 8 runs added to the Pickett's Crushers total. Well,
Is it 8 or is it?
I'm seeing 4 added there, but the umpire signaled wide, which should be 4, and it also went down to the boundary.
So here is Martin Caesar, and he's beaten Enrique Drew, and the ball perhaps deflecting from the wicket keeper down to the fine leg area, because it was very, very close to the stop.
Buys.
So buys, yes.
So it's 110 the score should go on to. So they did give the 8 runs, as I had indicated earlier. 110 for 2. And they in just seeing those 2 deliveries go by Terrace Parker, it brings up the point that one person of the discussion was making, that they feel that when the females play with with the males, there was a possibility of injury.
Caesar is in, and he's bowled him. Demari Benter bowled by that delivery, a ball of Yorker length. He was looking to advance, in fact made a few paces out of his crease, but not been able to negotiate that Yorker length delivery, and he has been bowled. Demari Benter goes back, bowled for 1 by Martin Caesar, and in the final over of the innings, Pickett's Crushers 110 for 2.
Well, you could forgive Benter for trying to advance, getting close to that delivery, probably looking to just nudge it into the field to try and get Drew back on strike. Drew, who has been really hitting the balls cleanly, he is the one that you would want to be on strike at this time, and you could see what Benter was trying to do there. So I wouldn't fault Benter at all for that dismissal. It brings in...
It's not showing on the scoreboard as yet.
It looks
but
like
here's Martin
Phillips.
Caesar to the new batsman, and it's hammered down the ground, and they get a run for that. So the batsman was just come in. Looks like Gershom Phillip, yes? Yes, it is. Confirmation with the name going on the scoreboard. So he's off the mark. He's on 111 for 3 in the final over. And Enrique Drew is slashing at this ball, gets it early down to the deep cover area. They've crossed for 2. And Drew is quite prepared to maintain the strike, which is the right thing to do. And the score has progressed after 4 balls of the final over to 113 for 3. So still an opportunity here for them to go past the 117, the highest score of the competition so far. Here is Martin Caesar into ball to Enrique Drew. He's driving at this ball, not being able to get hold of it. A chance for a run out, and it seems as if Terrace Parker missed the stumps.
It looks as if she missed the stumps.
So that was in fact the final ball of the innings. Yes, it was the final ball of the innings. So the innings has ended at 114 for 3. 3 short of the 117 made by PIC Liberty Blackhawks.
Still a very imposing total made by the Pickett's Crushers. After losing that early wicket in the first over, you did not expect this onslaught. However, Enrique Drew had other ideas. He decided that he was going to throw caution to the wind. He ended not out on 66. Gershom Phillip was on 1 at the end, and he would be happy having come out and really destroyed the bowlers. Not only the bowlers bowling, but he also destroyed a lot of their confidence, because the body language on the field for the bowlers team looked to be very negative as the game went on, when they had really no answer to the onslaught by Enrique Drew.
Yeah, so bowlers will have to bat like they've never batted before in 10 overs cricket to pull off this one, because it's really a tremendous ask of them to get 115 in 10 overs, especially when one looks at their record in limited overs cricket. In the Cool and Smooth T20, they were certainly not any powerhouse in the competition, and in their first match they lost that game as well, their opening match in the competition. So they're going to have to do an extraordinary performance when they come out with the bat to salvage something from this game. We'll just have to wait and see. So we'll take a break from the commentary position, and when the bowlers inning starts, we'll be back here with more coverage of the 10 Splash organized by the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association action at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium.
So we're back and we're waiting for the reply of Bolans to Pickett's Crushers' score of 114. First delivery is played away into the offside field. Trish Phillip does the fielding, and the Bolans are quickly off the mark. So they're one without loss. Earl Waldron and Tong. Is it Tajeja Tong? Left-handed Tajeja Tong batting for Bolans this evening, alongside the veteran in Earl Waldron. And Stephen Matthew, a shadow of himself from years ago, just literally walking in and carrying over his arm now. This delivery beating Tongue outside the off stump. 2-dot deliveries so far in the over. Matthew, almost like a spinner, just walking in and bowling medium pace. Ball outside the line of the off stump. Another dot delivery. So, Tongue not really handling Stephen Matthew so far. Matthew just walking in and delivering, and Tong is trying to hit this one out into the onside, hits it out to the long on fielder, gets a single. So one more to the total. It's on to two without loss in over number one. Remember, Bolans, they made 114 when they batted. This ball is in the air and should be taken and out caught. Earl Waldron goes. Was looking to force the ball away on the onside. Top edge foul. The ball went up in the air. The wicketkeeper moving smartly from behind the stumps. Took a smart catch. Moving away to his left. That's the end of Earl Waldron. And Bolans losing a wicket in the first over. Waldron goes for one. It's 2 for 1.
Waldron attempting to shut you down then more. You made comments about Boland's cricket, and Waldron came out to open, sent a message that he was going to make 100. Well, he scored one. A short delivery which bounced on him. He was a bit late on it. Stephen Matthew is not the Stephen Matthew we know years gone past when he was a fairly brisk medium pacer. Just bowling just off a length. And Waldron gloved it, and the wicketkeeper ran around and took a really good catch. So Boland's not off to a good start, 2 for 1 off 1 over, chasing a big target, requiring another 113 to go off 9 overs.
So a lot of work for the Bolans team to do. And with Earl Waldron going in the first over, it has really put them back. We see Belafonte coming out to join Tajeja Tong, as he will hope to do a similar feat to what we saw from Drew. Belafonte looks to be a very strongly built individual.
As you speak about Drew Denmore, some ferocious hitting this evening, 60 are not out. One of the cleanest hitting, continuous hitting that I've seen for a long time. Big sixes.
Belafonte is driving as the ball is a mix-up, and he is going to be run out. Belafonte and Tong, a big mix-up. The ball struck back to the bowler. I think it rebounded from the bowler and went into the mid-on region. There was a yes, no, and then Belafonte went sprinting down the track. Tajeja Tong went back into his crease. Belafonte was stranded. The bails removed at the wicketkeeper's end, and Bolans, just like that, losing their second wicket. They're 2 for 2.
Belafonte used a lot of energy in scoring that not there than more. Unfortunate somewhat, because he hit it straight back at the bowler, deflected to the man at mid-on. He was committed to the single, and he is almost 3/4 of the way down. Tong was also coming, but then he looked back and realized that the man at mid-on was coming in, changed his mind and reverted into his crease. the Elefante was sold, and he was run out without scoring. So 2 for 2, 1.1 overs. Certainly a huge task here for Bolans this evening.
So, Elroy Francis Jr. made 1. Kadeem Henry got 31 off 21. Javier Drew, 66 off 31. And he was not out. Demari Benter 1 off 2 deliveries. And Gersham Phillip was not out on 1 at the end. Tong had 1 wicket for 9 runs. Shanisha Hector had 1 for 29 off her 2 overs. Martin Caesar, 2 overs 17 runs, 1 wicket. Shamroy Griffith, 2 overs 29 runs. Klaskia Thill, 1 over for 12 runs. And Earl Waldron, 1 over for 17 runs. That's the batting and the bowling figures for the first innings. Here is the first delivery to the new batsman. Is cut away for 4, down to backward of point in Murland, getting a short delivery outside the line of the off stump. Sat up and asked to be hit from the bowler, who is Rodney, and 4 runs to start Murland's innings.
Short delivery, got the treatment, it was wide, and Marlon just picked his spot, hit it over the man at backward point.
Jason Rodney will be hoping for a better result. This is a better delivery. This went past the bat of Moreland, looking to cut it again, not making contact. And 1 more to the total. So, Moreland is pulling this one over the mid-wicket region for 4 runs. Another poor delivery from Rodney. Short delivery, rocking back and pulling it was Moreland, and he gets 4. And they're going to need a lot more from him, and a lot more like that, if Bolans are going to challenge this total in any way.
Yeah, that was a high-pitch delivery over wayside. It's a free hit, isn't it? Was it signaled as a free hit?
No, it was actually a short delivery. It was banged into the pitch, and Moreland really gave it the treatment that it deserved. Here is in the air, and so it was a full pitch delivery. It was a free hit. I didn't see the signal from the umpire. So Moreland was hitting the free hit. He hit it in the air. The catch was taken, but it was a free hit. So you are correct, Zoral, that it was a full pitch delivery above waist size. 14 for 2 is the total. Moreland is on 8. 1 is Tong. So
that free hit certainly would have helped the cause of Bolans. They picked up 4 runs in this tournament. Wides and no balls are credited as 4 runs.
Rodney is bowling to Tong, who's driving up on the onside for a single out to the fielder at that long on position. And so 1 more to the total. 15 for 2 is the total at the end of over number 2. 16, the scoreboard flashed over. It's 16 for 2 with Moreland on 9 and Tong on 2.
There are quite a number of innovations in this tournament, as we spoke about the no balls and wides that count for 4. But also substitution is allowed. I don't think a lot of teams have used it. The 10 overs have gone through so quickly. I think most teams are probably not even aware that a substitution can be made. But some creative and innovative things were done with this tournament. The ABCA 10 splash, bringing cricket back, and certainly with the Super 50 to be hosted early next year, followed by the Sri Lanka tour. This tournament can definitely be used as a gauge to see where we are, because I don't think there have been any announcements as to whether the Super 50 and the Sri Lanka tour will be played behind closed doors or with limited spectators, etc. So I think coming out of this tournament, it will certainly give the organizers and Cricket West Indies the opportunity to see what is possible.
And speaking to Kuma Radley earlier, he said that the meeting with the government and all the officials will take place soon, wide delivery, to start the new over from Timo Thomas. And so 4 runs going into the book.
But I certainly think that when you look at the venues to be used, the Coolidge Cricket Ground and here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium, the ambience allowed, the grass, the banks, etc., it allows for interaction that is friendly towards being too close to each other.
Yes, it lends itself for so physical distancing because we have so much space up here at the stadium. I do think though that a little bit more can be done in terms of working with the spectators, especially in that south stand, to get them in the habit of sitting in their seats. There's still 1 or 2 that still stand at the back where they normally do. I would love to see more people being pushed into the seats to observe the physical distancing in that sense. But there are many people who have spread themselves all over the stadium to maintain the physical distancing, and we've seen greater use. We are not accustomed to seeing, especially the East Berm, used when we have night cricket. Most people would normally head into the stands, but we've seen some people using those areas there as they try to maintain the distance. Timo Thomas is in action here, and he's keeping Tong. Tong seems to be very limited in terms of his stroke play. He waits for that ball to come on his legs or somewhere in the region of his leg side. When it looks as if you bowl him on the offside, doesn't seem to drive very well.
Yes, and there was a perfect example, delivery wide of the off stump, and instead of seeing that classical stroke out through the offside by the left-hander, you saw him coming around the ball, trying to hammer it, more or less. The bottom hand took over. So not a classical left-hander, as left-handers are known.
His feet need to move. He's not moving his feet at all to get into the position to be able to drive the ball. Maybe that's some work that his coaches would have to do with him. Here is an appeal, and I think that they might have gotten away with one there because the ball had passed, probably looked as if it was passed down the leg side. There was an appeal from the wicketkeeper. And what are you saying, Zoral? Well, based on the shot that I'm seeing and what Tong is doing, Tong is deceiving me, but there was an appeal, not out, says the umpire, and the end of the over. How many overs have gone? We've had 3 overs completed so far, and Bolands, they are 20 for 2.
Yeah, that was a short delivery from Tong, delivered, not from Tong, sorry, but from Thomas, delivered from over the wicket to the left hand. He tried to pull it, angled across him. I think may have been struck on the pad slightly. There was an appeal for a caught behind as the delivery passed him outside the off stump. But good over there from Thomas, generated some good pace.
You see Benter coming in, Dimari Benter. And this delivery is tucked away by Maryland. He's been forced to rush back for a second run. So 2 more to Derek Maryland, 2 more to the Bolands total. 22 for 2 it goes up to.
Good score put up here by the Pickett Squashers this evening, 114. Built on the back of that explosive innings by Drew.
Another delivery that's played away for another single, 23. The total goes up to 23 for 2. And let me just say good evening to those folks who would have come here, and some of them still follow the stream even though they're at the game. It's a strange phenomenon in Antigua and Barbuda. They like to watch and listen to what we have to say, which is a good thing. So we know that we have an audience, The batsman there in Tongue again, just looking to wind up to try and launch that ball somewhere. Didn't really make good contact, no run. Again, backing away and not making contact as the ball goes quickly into the gloves of Salim Scott.
I think there are a couple of games coming up in this tournament that are critical games, must-win situations for a few teams.
And a good-looking shot there. He's getting 4 runs. It does Tajeja Tongue. He was backing away, giving himself room, and was able to pierce the offside field and get it out to deep extra cover for 4.
Good shot. Short, hit it over the man at shortish extra cover and picked up 4 runs. Both fielders on the offside looking to save 4, couldn't. Good shot there by Tongue.
Again, just hitting this ball out to the mid-off region. The fielder running back to do the fielding, and the batsman were able to cross for a single. End of over number 4. At the end of it, 28 for 2. The total has moved on to. The run rate is currently at 7, and they require 14.50 from here on in. So it's going to be a heavy task for Bolans from here on in all the way to the end.
A huge task. As we said from the start, Bolans are not one of the favorite teams in this tournament. And they tried at the start of the innings with the experienced Waldron. He lasted just that over. And certainly behind the 8 ball at this stage. 6 overs left and still seeking 87 runs. It would take some hitting, similar to what we saw this evening from Joe when the Pickett's Crushers batted. An explosive 63. I think he might have hit six sixes it was. There was 1 6 in particular over extra cover, or 2 extra cover, which was so flat it just barely left the ground and it landed just beyond the boundary.
Really good hitting. Start of a new over number 5, and the bowler seems to be Kadeem Henry. Kadeem Henry, the bowler, and Tongue is the batsman looking to force it away, gets it out to Amanda Edwards, who is on that boundary, and they get a single. So Henry is in action, trying to keep Bolans in check, and Tongue continues to fight on, gets another single out to long off. He's on to 9. 13 is Merlin, 31 for 2 in over number 5. And Merlin getting this delivery backward of square. Again, this comes through for a run. So $32 for 2 is the total. Tongue again hitting this one flat, and it spins past the fielder out on that long on region and goes into the boundary for 4 runs. A little bit of a misjudgment. He was looking to get in line. The ball spun back and he lost his footing, and the ball beating the fielder into the boundary for 4 to end over number 5. At the end of it, 36 for 2 Bolans. They require another 79 runs for victory.
Good
We're going to have a stoppage because of rain at this time. The showers have come down here. Quite a sharp shower has come over here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. So the covers will be brought on. The small covers are on as we speak, and the other covers are going to be brought on, no doubt. So we're going to have a short stoppage in play. But Bowlands, with a mountain to climb, they still require another 79 runs from the final 30 deliveries.
Yeah, at the halfway stage, 36 for 2, definitely way behind the asking rate, which is now at 15.8 and over. It's going to take a big effort. Merlin and Tong are the two batsmen at the crease. But the Pickett's Crushers have handled themselves well in the field. They picked up 2 wickets, and they have managed to restrict Bowlands to 36. So it's going to be a big target. As you say, there's a break in play at the moment because of what seems to be a passing shower. And so we'll rejoin you as soon as that shower goes away.
Welcome back to coverage of the latest match in the 10 splash here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium. After a break, a fairly short break because of a drizzle across the ground, and the rain has stopped, and so we're about to see the resumption with the score on 36 for 2. So the action continues, and here is Derek Murilaw pulling the ball away down to the forward square leg position. Only one for him. The return is a high one to the wicket keeper. And so Zaleem Scott having to make a little bit of height. The ball went beyond him, but it was backed up in the onside. Well, in the offside. The left-hander comes into strike, so that fielder now comes into an onside position at the backward square leg area inside the circle. Score is 37 for 2. This is over number 6 in progress. The target 115. Here is the left-handed Tajeja Tong hitting, but not being able to get more than one. The ball deflected from the hand of the bowler, and so they were able to score a single. Score now on to 38 for 2. So they're well short of what's required in terms of the asking rate. Derek Murilaw has come out and has belted a few, but it will take a lot more than that. So here is a short ball, and it's pulled away down towards the backward square position, and it has gone away for 6. So Derek Murilaw getting a ball which was short, and he played it well. Hit it hard down to the backward square position and beyond the rope for 6 runs. Delightful stroke, Zorro.
Yes, taking the tap to Amanda Edwards, the female in the Pickett Squashers team here this evening. The short delivery was quite slow, so Maryland had a lot of time. Swung it late and swung it high, handsome. Picked up 6 runs for his team. 44 for 2, 4.3 overs. It will require a lot more of those in order to see Boland's get into the total set by Pickett Squashers.
Yes, is she bowling off spin? Sure. But here is Murilaw going back. It comes off the edge. It goes down to the almost behind the wicket keeper. And the fielder running around. That looks to be Stephen Matthew from that backward point area. And they managed to come back. So the score's gone into the 40s. It's now onto 40. Correction, it's 46 now. It was into the 40s with that 6 by Murilaw. It's now 46 for 2. Here's he getting a ball from Amanda Edwards, and he drives down to the long on area. 1 run for him. And so Murilaw continues to score at a fairly good rate, but the asking rate is still very, very high. He's on to 24. And Tajeja Tong on a 14 comes into strike. He comparatively has been pedestrian. Not being able to get the ball away with any regularity. Here's a ball down the leg side, and he swings at it. It goes between the legs of the wicketkeeper Scott. Will not go into the boundary. In fact, it will come to a halt, and it's now picked up by the fielder Stephen Matthew.
So in a while there, and they run 2, so I think they'll get 6 runs. 6 runs for that one delivery. Yes. New rules in this tournament: wide and low balls counted for 4.
So Amanda Edwards losing her line and losing her length and her line on this occasion, and the left-handed Scott, the left-handed Tong pulls the ball away down to the backward square position, and it has gone away for 4 runs.
Edwards walks away very disappointed. 21, conceding 21 in her single over. A couple of short deliveries, one put away for 6. A wide delivery, he did that counts for 6, and that other delivery was pulled away for 4. So she would be disappointed. She would walk with the feeling as if she has let her team down. But they have a lot of runs to play with. With 4 overs remaining, there's still 58 runs to get. Score now stands at 57 for 2 after 6. Maryland is on 24, Tong is on 19. Again, it's going to require a big effort from these 2 if they're going to get their team up to that additional 58 runs over the next 4 overs.
Yeah, the asking rate 14 and a half per over. In any cricket match at any level, it's always a demanding one. And so the Pickett's Crushers were very, very confident of sealing their spot in the semi-finals tonight. A victory here would ensure that they become the first team to reach the semi-finals of the 10 splash. And so the bowler is Drew, who made that enterprising innings, is into the attack, and this is a ball hit high in the air. There's a fielder coming in from the square cover position. He takes the catch, and that's the end of Derek Morilaw. First delivery went into a massive hit and not being able to time it. In fact, the ball went high in the air just as far as the square cover position, short, and Morilaw has perished. He has been caught off the bowling of Enrique Drew, who is also known as Javier Drew. And Morilaw has departed for 24, 57 for 3 at the start of the 7th over of the innings.
Joe seems to be the man with the golden arm. His first delivery picked up that wicket at Marlon, following up on that blistering 60-yard unit made not out in the Pickett's innings. So 57 for 3, losing a wicket at a time that they could ill afford to. Still requiring 58 from 3 overs and 5 deliveries.
And that's a mountain to climb. His knock-up 66 came off only 31 balls, 8 sixes and 1 4. And he has picked up a wicket with his very first delivery. So, I really, you can't give anyone else the man of the match unless we have a dramatic turn here in this match, which is hardly unlikely. Here is Tong, who has struggled. Went out there with Earl Waldron at the top of the innings, but hasn't been able to get the ball away. Initial movement is to go back, or to draw away and try to hit the ball through the offside. Here's he doing the same thing. He gets bat onto ball, but he goes as far as the bat at that wide-ish mid-off position, almost adjacent to the popping crease, alongside that popping crease. And here is Tong now turning the ball into the onside. They're hustling the first one. They will not come back with the second because Tajeja Tong slips. That's losing his footing as he got to the non-striker's end. So any hope of going back for the second was dashed with that fall by Tong. So that single has moved on. He is now on to 19, and it's 58 for 3 in over number 7. 3 to come after this one. 4 balls have already been bowled by Javier Enrique Drew. He's bowling right arm spin. Ball just turned away into the onside by the batsman who has come in to join. That's Martin Caesar. So Martin Caesar gets a run, and the score has inched on to now 59 for 3. Tajeja Tong comes into strike. These tongue-twisting names that we have these days are. Here is a ball which is angled into the left-hander, and he plays it with the inward movement into the onside, just tickling it around for a single, and he retains the strike. Tajeja Tong, and the score after 7 overs. Boland's cricket team needing 115 to win the match. They are 60 for 3, with Tajeja Tong on 20 and Martin Caesar on 1. The asking rate now 18.33. They need 55 runs to get from the last 3 overs.
18 deliveries for 55 runs. That is the required ask here at Boulders Cricket Club if they're going to keep their hopes alive in this tournament. 60 for 3 of 7 overs. I'm sure at this stage that the Pickett's Crushers will feel that they have done enough, that if they can just hold it out and be consistent without giving away any wides, without giving away any boundaries over the next few overs, and they should certainly look to advance their claims and march towards looking to make way into the final 4 of this tournament.
Yes, a semi-final spot beckons for Pickett's Crushers. Elroy Francis, the captain, will bowl. He's an off spinner. He's into the left-hander. And has he bowled him? He has been bowled. He has been caught. So there was an appeal, and he was almost celebrating before the decision came from the umpire. So Elroy Francis strikes with his first ball. He has removed, is it Taim Tong who has been dismissed? Yes, Taim Tong is the man who has been dismissed. He has been dismissed for 24. We'll get verification from the... We get verification? LBW. He has been LBW for 24. And the score at the start of the 8th over of the inning, 60 for 4, Bolans.
Yeah, he was a judge LBW. Very unfortunately, having looked at the replay, even from the live action, it looked as if the ball was going down the left side. But the umpire indicated that he was going to be out LBW. And so, 17 deliveries for 55 runs, that's the requirement. 60 for 4, it is 7.1 overs.
Yes, that's really a tremendous ask. A tremendous ask for the Bolans team. And it will be a second defeat. They have already lost their first match. And here is the new batsman beaten outside the line of the off stump by Elroy Francis, the off spinner. And the new batsman is the other Tong. That's Taim Tong. Taim Tong has come in. He's coming at number 6 in the batting order. So, really be able to do something special. You have to wait and see. Here is Elroy Francis into bowl team, and he's driving down the ground. The ball goes rather slowly down to the long on position, and he gets off the mark with a single. So he's on 1. Martin Caesar on 1 as well comes in to strike as the score inches on to 61 for 4. Elroy Francis bowling the 8th over of the inning, so only 2 to come after this one. And that will be the end of the match and the end of the proceedings for tonight in the 10th Splash organized by the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association. So we're watching Francis. He's just asking the fielder Amanda Edwards to go a little bit away to her right at backward point. And the ball is down the leg side, called wide by the umpire, stretching out his arms. And so 4 runs will be added to the score. And with that, with the extras being added, the score is now on to 65 for 4. Here is Elroy Francis being driven down the ground by the left-handed Martin Caesar. So Caesar gets a run, and he's on to 2, and it's 66 for 4. So it's the game now just really meandering at the moment, because really there's no suggestion that they'll be able to get even close to this. The ball is driven down the ground, and a good save by the man at long off, having to go around quickly away to his right. Made a diving effort. It was firmly struck by Taim Tong, hitting the ball hard from the off spinner. And so that was the final ball of over number 8. And they're 67 for 4. The target, 115. They now need to score 24 runs per over. There are 2 overs left at 67 for 4.
2 overs left, 48 runs required. 67 for 4, Bolans Cricket Club. Pickers Crushers will feel that they have done enough, that they can just hold their head and advance in this tournament because of this win. An effort put up by Bolans. As we said, they're not one of the favored teams in the tournament, so they certainly would have tried their best. But on this occasion, probably just not good enough. It was a big total they were chasing. 114 as made by the Pickets Crushers.
By the time Javier Drew finished with them in the field, it was virtually all over. He was smashing the ball all over the place. And he has the ball here. Yes, he is continuing. This is his second over and final over. The penultimate one of the innings and the match. And the first delivery is hit away down towards the deep, straight mid-wicket position for a single. And so the score will go further on into the into the 60s. Here is Drew. And this is a flight delivery. The batsman loses his bat as he went for a big drive at the ball outside the line of the off. So taken by the wicket keeper, Scott. So he lost grip of the bat and he went in the vicinity of mid-wicket. He had to go on to retrieve it. He has done so. And he will look to continue the fight. Score is 68 for 4. Javier Drew bowling around the wicket. Looked to be bowling off breaks. There's a fielder on the boundary at cover. And here is the ball driven into the onside, goes up towards the long on area. Here is he coming back for the second run, but the batsman at the striker's end says no. Time Tongue says no. So Caesar had to put the brakes on and scurry back into his ground because the fielder, that looks to be Amanda Edwards, ran around very, very quickly and inward towards the ball into the general area of the 30-yard circle. Javier Drew is in, and this is hit down to the forward square leg position. The man at backward square leg comes across. He overruns the ball, and they'll come back with a secondary return to the keeper's end, and they're back. So a little bit of slack work in the outfield here by the fielder at that backward square position. And so a couple of runs were had, 71 for 4. And we're deep in the penultimate over, the second to last over of the innings. Only 2 balls left. And after this one, it will be the final over. 71 for 4 is the Boland's score. And really, Boland's in danger as well of bowing out of the competition. If they were to lose their next match, they would definitely be out. With 2 defeats, it's so difficult to come back. Ball is hit and a loud appeal. But the umpire says out. He has been bowled. We're looking from behind the glass here, and so it's difficult to see. But that ball hit the stumps. And are the stumps sort of green? Are the stumps green in color? Am I seeing right? Yes, against the green background of the grass, it makes it even more difficult to see. So the green stumps, the umpires are also in green. So we have a lot of green tonight. So he has been bowled, and the score is 71 for 5.
71 for 5 it is. Boland's really struggling here. Only 7 deliveries remaining and requiring another 44 runs. The man with the golden arm this evening, Joe, 1.4 overs, 1 for 7. Certainly has had a big impact on this game.
And clearly would walk away with the Man of the Match award later on. That is not far in coming. He comes in with his last delivery, and the batsman is taken on the pad, loud appeal. Umpire says not out. So the new batsmen are playing defensively, no aggressive intent whatsoever. So just prepared to survive. And he did manage to survive because the appeal was not supported by the umpire. So 9 overs completed, 71 for 5, 71 for 5. Boland's, they need 115 to win the match. They now need to score at a rate of 37.71. That's the rate they need to score. So unless we see something extraordinary, like a succession of no balls and that sort of thing, some tremendous hitting, the matches we can say it's all over by the shouting.
44 required from 6 deliveries. That's a big ask, Jas. I'm not sure that even the Boland's team this evening would be up to that challenge.
So the last over has begun, and the first ball is whipped away into the onside. It has gone away for 4 runs. So it was short enough, and there was Martin Caesar onto it in a flash, and he cracked it away down to the deep mid-wicket area for 4.
Short delivery, got into his stumps, got into his wicket and pulled it hard and flat for 4. Just going through the motion with 5 more deliveries, 40 runs required. Unfortunately, I think this will confirm the exit of the Boland's team from this tournament. and it certainly would keep the hopes of Pickett's Crushers alive as they want to go ahead and see what they can do on the back end of this tournament.
Stephen Matthews in, and it's hit hard down to the long on position. The fielder can't reach for that. It goes away for 6 over the head of the fielder at long on. So a 4 and then a 6 by Martin Caesar. He's prepared to finish on a high in terms of run scoring. And Stephen Matthew hammered for boundary and then a 6. What will he do with this delivery? Caesar is pulling it away down towards the mid-wicket area, and a no ball called. So the return comes to the bowler's end, and the batsman there beating the return, and so they got a couple of runs for it. So
Plus the no ball, so that's 6
Yes,
runs. They got
yes.
6 runs from that.
right, so it's a free hit. Scores rushed down to 87. 87 for 5.
28 required from 4 deliveries.
Yes. What will we see happen here? Here is Stephen Matthew. From a fast bowler to a spinner. Ball is driven into the onside, down to the long on position by Caesar. So he gets another run. Stephen Matthew would have bowled for Antigua as a fast bowler. Had quite a bit of pace, but we understand because of the legs not being able to carry the weight. He has had to abandon bowling fast and has switched to off-spin bowling. Bowling the final over tonight, and the score 88 for 5. And so it's Terrence Parker was come out. Yes, is that Parker? Here is a ball which is pulled at, and it is just trying to verify. Yes, it's in fact Richards. Richards, who has come out to join Caesar, and Richards is still on naught. So here is Caesar trying to hit the ball over the top, not being able to do so. And that is it. Yes, that is it. The final ball of the innings, and the game has ended with the score on 89 for 5, 89 for 5. So they have won the match by 26 runs. 26 runs they have won by, and that's a huge win in 10 overs aside cricket. So Pickett's Crushers have sealed a spot in the semi-finals, the first team to do so in the T10 Splash, the inaugural competition here, organized by the Antigua and Barbuda Cricket Association.
And certainly turned out to be an easy win for Pickett's in the end. They won by 26 runs, scored a huge total, 114, and defended it. Boland's getting up to 89 for 5. And so Pickett's marches on in this tournament. Boland's will march on out of the tournament. Jack, there are 2 more games on tomorrow, and I think those games, the games over the next 2 days, will certainly define the teams that are going to go forward in this tournament. As this T10 Splash gets into a critical stage, teams are beginning to position themselves for the Final 4 playoff. Exciting tournament. Just asking the spectators to come out on the weekend, and then also to support the playoffs next weekend, 18th, 19th, and 20th.
Yes, and we are looking forward to that phase of the competition, because the top teams would have qualified for that, and we expect some exciting cricket during that phase of the competition as well. So, victories tonight for Bethesda Golden Eagles, sponsored by Caribbean Union Bank, and also Pickett's Crushers. And so until tomorrow, when we're back for more coverage of the T10 Splash, Jack Matthew on behalf of Denmore Roberts and Zorro Bartley and all the scorers and the technical team here at the Sir Vivian Richards Stadium saying goodbye.